Do you think that movies have the power to change who we are? Ever notice how when you're watching like a sports movie, let's say Coach Carter, for example, which is actually my first movie on this list. After watching it, you get so fired up that you grab your ball and you go out to your old rusty hoop that your parents installed because they had these high hopes of you making it as a professional basketball player. And you start shooting, and for like 5 minutes you're into it until you realize the point of why you stopped. That's why I love movies. Hi friends, my name is Joey, and if you're new here, well, my name is still Joey, but I'm a poet, an author, and a self-help content creator. And I started this journey actually 12 years ago. And I started because I was just this like lost little kid who suffered brain injuries from sports. And I had to find my own way, and how I did that was through watching videos and watching movies. Now, I was a kid that spent so much time outside, and when I got injured, the doctors were like, no, now you need to stay inside. I got a few concussions, and their thought was, put me in a black room. That'll fix him. And I did that for about 122 days straight. Anyways, that's when I started my self-help journey, and when I stumbled upon a lot of movies that changed my life and the way that I think about myself. Here is that list. 1, Coach Carter.
I ain't scared of nobody, cause I'll lay you out.
I don't think so.
Teachers ain't supposed to touch students.
I'm not a teacher. I'm the new basketball coach.
I have seen this movie an odd amount of times. I say that because I feel guilty, because I don't want you to think that this is just a stereotypical men's sports movie. Even though it's a movie that may have basketball in it. It's about discipline, it's about family and perseverance.
What I gotta do to play?
Mr. Cruz, you do not want to know the answer to that question.
This movie taught me that we succeed once we allow ourselves to open up, when we sacrifice our journey to what we believe is success and happiness, and we accept the help of others when we are vulnerable enough to feel who we truly are.
When player triumphs, we all triumph, right?
The people who we surround ourselves with are sometimes the sole influence on how we react and why we find ourselves in certain situations. This movie made me realize that when we have the people that we love in our life and they're close to us, no matter what, we will always be stronger together. 2, 7 pounds. This movie will tear you apart as it teaches you the domino effect of what your actions can cause. Will Smith's character in this movie is driving distracted by his phone. I'm sure you can figure it out, but it causes a car crash, which ultimately ends the lives of 7 people. 6 being strangers and 1 being his fiance, which leaves him in this film with remorse and a lot of guilt. Listen, I didn't say these movies were gonna be happy. Not only did this movie remind me that I need to be more cautious while driving, but I was also able to put it into my own perspective, even if I hadn't had a crash. That my words and my actions and how I treat people can run down the line. In his quest to redemption, Will Smith helps 7 strangers by assessing their situations and determining who is most deserving of his assistance. Now, I won't say any more detail. This is hard to share movies because I don't want to spoil it for you, because I want you to sit down. I want you to watch this movie. I want you to feel it. I want you to get that gut feeling that's like, ooh, I can't watch this anymore, but keep watching. It's a movie that just taught me to give myself up for the ones that I love, even if they're strangers. 3, Hacksaw Ridge. This is a true story war film with Andrew Garfield, which oddly enough, the comment that I most see is that I resemble Andrew Garfield. And maybe I do in this movie when he's covered in mud and like almost dying, then I maybe see it. In this movie, Andrew's character enlists in the army and he chooses to go to war. But the biggest choice here is that he refuses to carry a weapon because of his beliefs. So he serves as a medic.
I got the energy and the passion to serve as a medic. Right in the middle with the other guys, no less danger, just while everybody else is taking life, I'm gonna be saving it.
And ultimately, he saves lives without taking anyone else's. This movie stood out to me because I am someone who is super keen on helping people. And I'm not one to dive into the wrong end of the pool to do it. I know this is a war movie, but you don't have to be into the shoot 'em up type of movies in order to sit down and watch this and to be able to understand the meaning behind this film. It taught me that I can help people in my own way, even if it's not by the book. A small act of kindness can save someone's life. And sometimes it's worth being different in order to do so. Number 4, Ratatouille. Yes, I'm talking about the animated rat movie. Listen, I believe cooking is a love language in itself. This is a movie that I watch when I'm sick. This is a movie that I watch when I'm happy and when I'm feeling meh. This is a movie that I watch when I need to sleep, when I need to be more awake, when the sun is shining, when the rain is falling. This is the movie. I'm super inspired by cooking, and I believe that cooking kind of hits all of those 5 love languages. Whether you're cooking for yourself or you're cooking for other people, whether you're taking the time out of your day to do this one thing that can fulfill somebody, literally, I think it fits everything. And cooking is what I do when I'm stressed, when I'm sad, when I'm happy, when I'm meh. Oh, and when I'm hungry too, I do that. For myself, I have always found that I feel most fulfilled when I'm helping other people. That's where I feel the most meaning in my life. And in this movie, Remy the rat does everything that he can to help a stranger that eventually becomes a friend and to help a family even after they've pushed him away. Growing up a YouTuber and coming from a kid that played sports, I wasn't exactly welcomed with my family and relatives at like the family events. Nobody asked about my work, nobody talked about my job, or if they did, I was just laughed at and joked upon. Keep in mind, this was 12 years ago. But you know, I stuck with this job, doing what I love to do, helping other people in my own way. And now I've been doing this for 12 years and I'm able to help my parents. I put a roof over my head for my family and I put food on the table just like Remy. Did I just compare myself to a rat? 5. A Man Called Otto.
Otto. O-T-T-O.
I saved this movie for last because it is simple. My favorite thing to do is go to the movies. It's one of the things that I really enjoyed doing. But in the last few years, it kind of just seems like every movie is Marvel or CGI and like just going for the big wow. And those movies are great, but I feel nothing for them. They lack empathy and the ability to relate. Yeah, there's moments in there where you shed a tear because Tony dies, but at the end of the day, then you're like, wait a second, I can't relate to this because I don't have an Iron Man suit. I like movies that allow me to compare them to my own life, to help me with an issue that I might be struggling with. And yeah, maybe I can't fly, but I've been doing this for 12 years. If I made enough money to buy an Iron Man suit, then I would have stopped by now. A Man Called Ottawa is a book turned movie that stopped me in my tracks. We went to see it in theaters on a random Wednesday. And we did this when it first came out a few years ago. And I still think about this movie today. It's about a grumpy old man played by Tom Hanks.
Oh my God.
Who was grumpy because his wife died. But he gets stuck in that feeling. So much so that he wants to end it all. But that comes to be difficult when certain lives enter his life. And again, I don't want to tell you too much, because I really want you to go and see this film. I want you to stream it, whatever, do it illegally, do it however you can. This isn't a widely known film, so I assume most of you haven't seen it. But please just give it a chance. This movie taught me that no one is truly alone, even when we think we are, and even when sometimes we want to be. But it's all for the greater good. And having others in our lives bring a greater sense of happiness and fulfillment. And that's the list for the movies that I've seen, but here are the movies that are next on my list that I hope will change my life as well. 1. The Whale. 2. Iron Claw. 3. Masters of the Air. I understand that movies are fake, even the ones that are about true stories, but these movies didn't happen in real time. They are edited, they are scripted, and they are ultimately formatted so you watch. But you have to ask yourself this: if they are made so we watch them, then wouldn't they apply to our lives? And I think the answer is yes, but in moderation. Ultimately, I think it's the same with relationships. We all say that we want total honesty from our partners, but if we told the deepest, darkest parts of our brains to them all the time, we'd scare them off. It's too much. So the idea of an edit isn't always bad. Being honest with people in moderation versus in big dumps is a lovely thing to do, and it keeps people around, keeps people listening, keeps people entertained at the same time. Just as long as the ones that we love that are closest to us eventually get to see this unedited, raw version of who we are. But as life goes on. Movies have changed my life with the sparks that they leave me. My favorite thing to do is go to a movie theater alone. I love it, it's weird, I know, but hear me out. It's not because I'm cheaper or that I don't have to share my popcorn with anyone, but because for 2 hours or so, I am able to feel without distraction, or without someone watching me watch a movie, even though they're not looking at me, they can see me. So I challenge you to do that. Go see a movie alone and get the layered butter. Don't be cheap, and come back here and leave a comment on how you felt about it. I want to know when you felt that moment of the release where you're sitting there being a little bit uncomfortable because you were alone watching a movie and you think that people were judging you, to the moment where you found yourself lost in the movie. So much so where you don't even realize your surroundings. It's just the best feeling ever. Now, what all of these movies have taught me in life, to sum them all up, is that it's not about finding happiness for ourselves, but it's about feeling the joy that we share with others. We still need to love ourselves, but when we are finally vulnerable enough to let others in, that is when the true meaning of life is felt. Thank you for watching. Stay you.